just because you started making music, people should pay you for it? Like, where does that entitlement come from? There's lots of places for people to buy music out there. There's lots of places out there for people to hire musicians. And there's lots of musicians out there for hire that have been doing this for years. So what is the delusion that if you just started 1 week ago, 1 month ago, 2 months ago, that people should pay you for what you're doing? Give up on that delusion, because it is just that, a delusion. Little less. What is going on, everybody? My name is Tatro. Welcome back to another Tatro rant. Today is all about money and making money from music, from creative work, but we'll get into that in a minute. I want to start doing comment shoutouts because these rants are generating a pretty decent conversation in the comments, and I want to start shouting out some of those standout comments. So first up, we have here from the last video, which was all about gear and how you don't need to keep searching for gear, and gear is not the answer, just go make some music. Synth Tanked said, since Madlib said he's been making albums on the iPad, I realized gear has almost nothing to do with it. Perfect comment. Yeah, Madlib, very famous producer, talks about making music on the iPad all the time, and that was really enlightening for me too when I first heard that. Funny one here from Mr. Ferretier. Instructions unclear. I bought red shoes and fell down the stairs, now it hurts. Should I buy a Akai instead? Well done. And this one I think summed it up the best. Very great piece of advice, Tatro. Money can't buy passion. There's nothing wrong with collecting tools, but think about the time you could have spent on making music instead of looking for more gear. I'm a beginner and I've also experienced the struggle to find the suitable controller for me. However, the enthusiasm to actually create music is much critical indeed. And while carefully choosing a MIDI controller verging towards your musical preferences is worthwhile, the workflow tops it all. Without the consistency and the knowledge to put things together, the art of music making will not go in your favor. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Verticlage. Verticlage? Yes, that was a great comment. Summed up the last video very, very well. And that was good to hear. There were a lot of really great comments in the last video and in the previous rant. So I will continue to do comment shoutouts on these rants. So as we get into today's topic, if something strikes you as inspiring or if something resonates with you, feel free to share that in the comment down below. But nonetheless, money and how you're never going to make it if you start out caring about money. All right, so you just got your cracked version of FL Studio, you bought yourself an Akai MPK Mini Mark III, made your first 5 beats, put them up on BeatStars and said, "Where's the money?" It's not coming. The money is not coming. Here's the thing about making money from creative work, generating an income, whether it's from music or any type of creative work. If you start with the intention of just making money or the delusion that you will somehow get rich, it is likely not going to happen. Because what that's born from, what that idea of like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make money, what that kind of idea is born from is like, oh, this is going to be kind of easy. I can skip some steps and just get into it and just start making money just like that. I see all these great producers on BeatStars or whatever marketplace it may be. I see all these YouTubers with lots of views. This must be easy. I'm just going to do this and I'll make money. It just doesn't work like that, unfortunately. And I do get comments and DMs from people saying like, hey, I make beats and stuff. I'm wondering like, how do you sell your beats? How do you make money? And the reason that I know that is not a very well-researched question and people haven't really put a lot of thought into what their plan is because I don't sell my beats. But people still ask me all the time how I sell my beats. So how, then, do you even start to generate an income from creative work or music? And when you're just starting out, the real answer is put your head down and forget about making any type of money for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. Like, I can't even track my journey, but at a certain point, like everything that I'm doing right now in this moment to generate income, everything, making videos, making music, creative consulting, all of those things some years ago, less than 5 years ago probably, paid me $0. And I was making my money from being a dishwasher, running a cafe, teaching, working at a summer camp. Like, that's how I was paying my bills. Of course, the goal was, all right, I love making music. I love sharing my ideas with people. I love making videos and content. I just love being creative and making stuff. How can I make an income from that? And my realization was, well, if I don't get a real job and try to pay my bills, I am just going to be either living at my parents' or who knows. So let me go pay my bills with a job. And I did that. But I never lost sight of the fact that I love doing all this creative stuff. I knew that it wasn't going to happen overnight. That is why I was okay with getting these other jobs and working and paying my bills that way, and then spending every waking hour outside of those jobs from building something for myself, building up the skills. I've had to build so many skills to get to where I am today, and any producer, any musician, any creative person will tell you they've had to build skills beyond just their discipline. And what do I mean by that? Well, yes, of course, I've had to learn how to use Ableton Live. I've had to learn how to make the type of music that I want to make, which has shifted over time. I've had to learn how to do video production. I've had to learn how to build my brand and social media marketing. I didn't sign up for any of those things when I said I want to be a musician. That's not on the brochure that they give you at the I Want to Be a Musician conference. It's still part of the job, and it's still really important. And it's the difference between making an income and not making an income. So don't shut yourself off to things that you think are not part of what you want to do when they are really can make or break your success. Things like marketing and branding and stuff like that. But it does always come back to that idea of putting your head down and literally just forgetting about making money when you're starting out, because you have so many skills to build. Once you start putting your work out on the internet, you are on the same stage as all these people who have years and years of experience, who have loads and loads of talent. That, talent is a weird thing. Some people are born with this natural ability. Some people have to work really hard to build up their abilities. It's different for everybody, but you're put on the same stage with all of those people. The bottom line is you should have no delusion that you're going to get rich and start generating an income right away. It's going to take a lot of time. Imagine that you're into real estate and you want to build the nicest hotel in New York City. It's going to be the tallest, most beautiful hotel anybody has ever seen. You build up that hotel, it gets taller and taller and taller, it builds up a reputation. It looks like a really nice hotel, so people start to check in, and then when people check in, they recommend it to their friends as one of the nicest hotels they've ever stayed at in the city, and you start getting more business that way, and eventually you generate so much that you can open up another hotel in another city. This is what we want to do as musicians, as creatives. This is what anybody who builds a business for themselves wants to do. But what many people try to do, and I see this in my DMs and in my comments, is they want to build the biggest, best hotel in New York City. And they've just bought the piece of land that the hotel is going to go on, and they start messaging people saying, I have the best hotel in New York City. Would you like to come stay? I'm charging this much a night. And then people get there, and it's a plot of land in the middle of New York City. Nowhere to sleep, no rooms, not even a building. People are putting the cart before the horse, to put a metaphor on a metaphor. If you start with that idea of making money, or this kind of entitlement, I guess, that just because you started making music, people should pay you for it, where does that entitlement come from? There's lots of places for people to buy music out there. There's lots of places out there for people to hire musicians. And there's lots of musicians out there for hire that have been doing this for years. So what is the delusion that if you just started 1 week ago, 1 month ago, 2 months ago, that people should pay you for what you're doing? Give up on that delusion, because it is just that, a delusion. Instead, back to the hotel metaphor, for me, in my case, what I wanted to do was build something great that people would start to take notice of and start to come to me. And I wanted to try to build a community around that. It is like building that tall, nice hotel. And I think with this channel and sort of with my brand as Tatro, I feel successful in that, because I've built up this thing. People come to it, people recommend it to their friends. We've got a nice community of regulars that show up to a lot of the videos and a lot of the streams, and that's really nice, and that continues to grow over time. And then brands come in. We would like to pay you this much to do this, and we'd like to send you this free gear, and we'd like to hire you for this particular job. It's because I spent the time not just building up a solid foundation, but then building on that foundation forgetting about, like, head down, not thinking about making money, building something that people would notice. And then people started to notice. It feels like magic, but it's not magic. It's just putting your head down and not focusing on that, and focusing on doing the best that you can and trying to get a little bit better every single day and building your craft. And when you do that and you work really hard in this kind of business, the creative business, people start to notice. Don't get me wrong, you do have to be paying attention and building up your skills and building up the important skills that people will actually, come to pay for. I mean, there's a million musicians out there that are way more skilled than me. But I have this cross section of skills for what I want to do in the video creation, the content creation, the music production world, that it gets me a lot of work. It's that cross section. It can't just be one thing. If I just sat in a practice room and practiced piano every single day, well, I'm sure if I was doing that, I could get jobs, but I wouldn't be getting jobs doing this, what I want to do, So focus on, like, what do you actually want to do? What do you want to be doing? Figure out what the income revenue sources are for people who do that for a living. Do that research, and then put your head down and then build up the skill so that you can share that stage comfortably with all the other people who are trying to do the same thing. That is how you start generating an income, generating revenue from being a creative and from being a musician in 2021. It's one of the ways. This is I'm talking from the perspective of my pathway and this sort of new pseudo like musician content creator perspective, which is really different than how things have been in the past, I think. But you can do it. But just make sure you're not that person who's like, oh, I'm gonna build the nicest hotel in New York City. How much you want to pay me? And all you have is a plot of land. You haven't even started building your foundation yet, aka the skills you need. And as usual, this is tough love. This kind of video is not meant to be any type of like complaint about what I hear from people. It doesn't affect me at all. When people DM me these things, like I might give certain messages and comments an eye roll, but like it doesn't affect me. So my purpose for making these videos is really tough love, and because I want you to succeed as a creative, and the world is a better place with more creatives in it. But there's lots of people out there who want to sell you an easy way and don't want to push you beyond your own initial thoughts and your own initial thinking, and don't want to tell you you're wrong. And that's just not what I'm interested in doing. So I know sometimes what I say comes off as harsh. It's tough love. The best friends I've had in life are the friends that have checked me and told me I'm wrong or I'm out of line, and have helped me to become a better person and a better creative. So I hope that I can somehow be that for some of you at least. This has been another Tetro rant. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have been enjoying these, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to put one out every single Monday, so I hope you've been enjoying it. And the conversation continues in the comments down below, so don't forget to let me know what you think on the subject. But this was a fun one. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Tetro. Have a good one.